Anthony DiComo covers the Mets for MLB.com. Well, that gets you up to speed on the Mets. I want to start, though, Anthony, with you've been going to Citi Field, right?
Yes.
And how different is summer camp from spring training? These clubs are at their major league stadium. What is that like?
It's very different. And the Mets, like a lot of teams, are taking like all teams, they're taking the protocols very seriously. They're probably going above and beyond in a lot of ways. I know Brody Van Wagenen wouldn't be happy with this because we're 6 feet apart. He wants everyone 10 feet apart.
Okay.
So they're kind of going above and beyond, which is a good thing as we get going here, as we get these tests back. And, talking earlier about disinfecting the baseballs. You see guys out on the field doing drills, in which case, normally they would be shoulder to shoulder. They would be, yucking it up with each other. They would be high-fiving, fist-pumping. There's none of that. You see, Brandon Nimmo the other day hit a home run, goes back to the dugout and goes, giving people air high fives. And it's little stuff like that that's funny, but it kind of encapsulates how serious this is, how serious they're taking it. Sign-up sheets in the batting cage, using both clubhouses, making sure guys have lockers that are 6 feet apart or more, 10 feet apart. So it's definitely something that, asking players, say, has this become normal? And the answer is generally no. I don't think it's ever going to be normal. You get used to it a little bit. But these are protocols that are in place for a reason, and the Mets, like all the teams, are following them.
How difficult do you think it's going to be for these guys to be Major League ready? And I've mentioned earlier in the week that Major League Baseball is a ballet, right? I mean, highly tuned, what you see there and you take for granted. Can they be ready in 2.5 weeks, given that they don't have 5 fields to get ready on and all? They have to be on one spot, like a high school team. What is that? Can they be ready?
I was skeptical that the hitters would be ready because you would think going in, and some guys have said that the hitters are behind the pitchers even more than usual right now. A lot of pitchers have been throwing. Michael Wacha, for example, has been throwing 3-inning bullpens throughout the quarantine, 3-inning live BPs. Steven Matz has been throwing 4-inning live BPs. So the idea of these guys stretching out to 100 pitches on opening day is certainly feasible. Can anyone hit them at that point? But from the early returns in summer camp, you see guys like Cespedes, you saw in that highlight video, going deep off Seth Lugo, who's a pretty good pitcher. I would say a top 5 reliever in baseball. Nimmo homer the other day. You see guys doing these things, and it has made me think, okay, maybe there will be something that's more approximating what we're used to seeing on opening day in terms of hitters versus pitchers and everyone being ready.
Speaking of which, probably just at the point where everyone had given up on Yoenis Cespedes being an impact player for the Mets, he seems to be back. Here's Luis Rojas and Brody Van Wagenen today on Cespedes and his state of readiness.
From a hitting standpoint, I think we all agree that he's looking pretty good. I mean, his timing is there, pitch recognition. I mean, we saw it yesterday. I mean, the first at bat there is facing Seth Lugo, and he's a homer.
The two questions that we still have to answer are, first, can he be base running with the exertion level and workload level to be able to play on an everyday basis when we do start up? And then secondly, what is going to be his outfield availability? We're still working through his running progressions. We're encouraged by what we've seen. He's been able to participate in not only what other people are doing, but he's been able to do extra work that's required of him. We're excited about where he is at this point. With 2 weeks to go, we can start to dream a little bit.
Right, starting to get excited about it. What are your thoughts on Cespedes?
He's absolutely stolen the show at Mets camp. I mean, it's only been a week, but I think there was this expectation going in that, okay, we hope he can be good, but we're not really sure. And then you see him out there, you see him in the batter's box, and it's like, wow, this guy looks like 2015 Yoenis Cespedes. And granted, that is in the batter's box. Michael Conforto the other day called him a monster, which is an apt description. You see this guy's BPs, you see what he's doing in these sim games, in these intra-squad games that they're doing. But I think seeing that has given everybody a lot more optimism that, hey, this is real. Obviously, the caveat with Cespedes is, can he run? He's had 2 heel surgeries. He fractured his ankle. Can he have the athleticism necessary to run the bases, let alone to play left field a little bit? But what I've seen is encouraging. Back in spring training, he wasn't able to sprint. He's out there now doing sprinting drills in the outfield by himself. He's with the training staff, doing one-on-one stuff like that. He looks a lot better. He looks a little slimmed down from where he was in spring training. Athleticism-wise, it's better than what I thought it was going to be, and in the batter's box, it looks great.
And when he was there, that was before the emergence of McNeil and Nimmo, right, and Conforto, and he was the presence in the lineup. And I mean, he delivered as well. Last 3 years, 119 games played for Cespedes, so we'll see. How good is this team? We're starting to get optimistic about it. No Thor, but how good are the Mets?
I think they're the top level talent there is legit. And I think the season being only 60 games helps them. I think having the DH helps them. They can use Cespedes there. They can use guys like Jed Lowry, get Cano off his feet, get Pete Alonso off his feet. So the DH helps them. I think the 60-game season helps them in that the pitching depth, which has already been tested with Noah Syndergaard going down, you don't have to worry about that as much over 60 games as you do over 162. So I think you take in all those factors, and you say, okay, it's more feasible that they could upend the Braves, the Nationals, even the Phillies in the NL East over 60 than they could over 162. The talent is obvious. You see DeGrom at the top. As long as you have him and he's going to pitch 20% of their games, if not more, going forward here, you have to think they have a chance.
I know the entire AL East is not powerful, but it's pretty good at the top, right? So how does the AL East I'm talking about, how is the AL East and the NL East, the All East schedule affect a team like the Mets? It's going to, just as well the Braves and the Nationals, how does it affect them?
It's difficult. It's certainly difficult. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the Mets, like every team in these two divisions, they're going to have to take advantage of games against the Marlins, games against the Orioles, the Blue Jays, because you can't go in thinking you're going to win 2 out of 3 every time from the Yankees, from the Nationals, from the Braves. It's just not feasible. You look back at what the Mets did in 2015, that's how they won. They kind of bided their time. They split games against the Nationals, and then when they played the bottom feeders of the league, they won 80% of those games. So it's no different now. It's a tougher schedule than I think some other teams around the league have, but you have to take advantage. You have to play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting once they get out there. All right, some sense of optimism, which is important in these days.